how is this combination of AI, tech, data, right? And how important it's for the MBA students to get into a hook of skill set for product management as a career.
Building products is all the same in most industries. What a person needs to develop is the idea of how do you merge these two things of technology and business. If you want to come into a tech domain, I would say be on top of it. Right now, the buzzword is AI. A few years ago, it was data science. A few years before that, it was software development. So before that, it was internet. So these things will keep on coming.
How your entrepreneurship passion pulls you to leave your high lucrative leadership journey and to struggle again back into the life.
You might say that this idea already there are 5 startups out there, so many people are thinking about it, but out of 100 only 2 or maximum 3 people will have the courage in them to leave everything and pursue it with full flow. So the moment you decide to pursue something, you have beaten 90% of the competition. This is a ruthless industry that you're entering into, and I think that's a thing that everybody should accept. This is not a cakewalk kind of hand-holding kind of roles that you'll be given. You will be expected to produce results, and there will be no mercy shown, no empathy if you do not perform. If you are getting your cards right, within 4 or 5 years you would be at that job.
You know what, I'm 28, right? And I'm the CEO.
And I'm not even saying it will take you 4 or 5 years longer than somebody else. You will be right there at the same level as somebody from a top college doing that role, because you will grow faster. And in companies, trust me, people recognize skill set very fast. This is where MBAs are expected to bring their business novice into this field. The question is, are you ready to step up your skills and get into it? Because somebody else is.
Hello everyone. Welcome to this session. Very informative, very meaningful, very value-added session. We call it Industry Connect. I'm your host Anuj Goyal. And yes, this session has been widely acclaimed. Students, people across the industry have been very appreciable of this session that we are conducting. So this Industry Connect session, friends, let me give you a brief for the users who are coming new to this platform. This is a session whereby we interact with industry leaders. We talk unfiltered discussions. We get the insights straight from the people who have achieved and who have built a lot of value addeds in their careers, right? So this is a series whereby MBA students can learn directly from the industry experts, whereby the industry experts share their honest opinions, practical advice, and the career lessons that generally we don't find in the textbooks, right? And it gives us an insight how the real industry works, especially for the MBA aspirants, whereby there's a lot of hoopla all around by the B schools, right? And they create a lot of aspirational value. So it's very important to go for a reality check, and that is only possible when we interact live with the people who have served in the industry. So today I have a very special guest, and our introduction takes a lot of wow for me. So let me go step by step. So a person who has walked through a very powerful path. Personally, I am inspired by his professional journey. He started his education from Thapar Institute of Management and he has graduated from IMT Ghaziabad. He has led a data growth of companies like Shadi.com and Purple. And now he's stepping into the entrepreneurship journey with his own venture. It's a very powerful venture with influencer marketing space. So let me welcome my guest, Mr. Shashank Raghuvanshi, in today's session. Welcome, Shashank.
Thank you, Anuj. I'm really glad to be here. I hope I can add some value for the viewers watching this.
So for all my viewers, right, it's very imperative for us to share the details of your corporate journey so far, right? It cannot go with us very small introduction. And probably they can learn from your milestones and probably they can draw their inspiration as well, right? Across their career path. So let me elaborate your experience. Mr. Shashank, after completing his master's from IMT Ghaziabad and serving with his projects, he has worked as a lead in data growth at Shadi.com, and he's worked as a product manager, whereby he used to look into the dynamic pricing engine, the lead generation engine, the recommendation system, and the fraudster detection, image recognition, and A&B frameworks. Very powerful and very central profile that he was handling at Shadi.com. Post that, he's moved to Purple, and Purple, he moved as a senior product manager, whereby he used to look into the retention, personalization, e-commerce with respect to chat, homepage, recommendation search algorithms as well. And now he has stepped into his entrepreneurial journey with his own venture into influencer marketing space we known as PrimaSpot. So, Mr. Raghuvanshi's journey is not a success story. It's a masterclass for all the MBA students who want to evolve as data leaders, want to think as a product managers, as product thinkers, and finally, probably they can look forward as a co-founder sometime in their life. Here, Mr. Shashank is there. Welcome, Mr. Shashank, again, and really an inspirational journey you have traveled across. So, let us understand. Let you please explain. Like you have traveled from IMT corridors to industry. How have been your journey so far?
Thank you, Anuj. Start with, I would say that the journey has been, as you rightly mentioned, has had a lot of twists and turns. Uh, Personally, for me, MBA and doing BTech, then doing some job, then finally doing MBA, then getting into D2C brands, working for them, has been a lot of exposure into a lot of different domains. And I would personally say that very young, while I finished my bachelor's, I think bachelor's is a time that a lot of Indian students are still figuring out, if they made the right choice or not. And I was in the same boat, like most of us are. And it took me some time to basically figure out what I really wanted out of my career. But at the very beginning, the idea was that I would want to get into more towards the understanding the operations and the business side of how businesses are run. So that's naturally led to me to an inclination towards doing startups, businesses, even I would say doing an MBA. Being a young kid, I was working. I remember in Pune after finishing my bachelor's, was doing R&D in a mechanical company, automobile sector, and was fairly. The work was technical for me, and I always used to feel like I'm missing out when I used to look at my colleagues working in other departments. Ki, how is actually the company running? And that's how it started. And but I felt stuck at that point in my career. And I think I can be completely honest here for everyone that no, it felt like I was being flown in a journey where I did not want to be a part of. Like, it was like a river flowing, and there was a career path set out for me, but I always felt like there was something missing. And I can gladly say that missing feeling today exists no more. I feel right in the middle of, thick of things that I'm doing are in alignment with what my interest is. And one of the key things for it is that at some point when I couldn't make my way, doing an MBA seemed like a very, I would say, initially an escape option from what I was doing. I did not see it as a stepping stone into something. I realized that much later that what MBA would eventually mean for me. But that's how it started, and I joined IMT. Gave my cat, did all the exams, no, like all other students, and what was surprising for me was I had in mind that no, MBA will teach me business, and it taught me a lot much more things but business, I would say. So what ends up happening is that MBA becomes like a very small space where you get to meet very like-minded people. So the difference between your bachelor's and your master's is that bachelor's you get people from all walks of life with all different aspirations. But when you come to MBA, the aspirational goals are very much aligned for everybody. So either you are looking for playing a very critical role, want to have that high pressure, high performing, but high much influencing role in a company. You want to get into the more business decision making side, and everybody is aware of this. So that makes a difference because from day one of the experience, you know that everybody is striving for the same thing, and you see people doing a lot more outside of their curriculum, outside of their teaching academia, in their free time, doing projects, doing workshops, working for internships, helping out other companies, which you do not see while you're doing bachelor's. And perhaps that's the biggest difference, because if you continue doing your job, you do not find that time to step out of your role. And MBA is a place where most of the times, like for me, I had some work experience, or there are folks who did not have work experience, but still we are all much older, and we get an opportunity in life to, really sit back and reflect as to like how we want to reorganize and realign it. So I feel a 2 year MBA or a 1 year MBA is a good time for every student, no matter how hectic people say. Of course, it's hectic. The curriculum is designed for you to feel the pressure. You still end up finding a lot of time for yourself. And that time for yourself helps you realign a lot as to what direction you want to take. And I felt like that was a moment where I could look at my, positives. I could look at, what skills I had, what I lacked, and how should I go about it to fulfill my expectations. And that's how the MBA felt at that time valuable. If you look at students today, though, like people come with all sorts of ambition, but MBA is a place I would say that no, you go in with an open blank slate. MBA is a place which can help you achieve a lot of your dreams, but probably not in the way you expect.
Mhm.
Well, the biggest takeaway for most students is going to be the people that you meet in your MBA. Because today, while I'm building my startup, the network that I have, the people that I know from those days are my biggest strength. And even later on, post MBA, you go into corporate, the kind of people you will meet, the experience is going to be much, much different, because these are the folks who are making a lot of big decisions at these companies, and they come with a wealth of experience. So basically, what MBA does is puts you into a certain kind of club, or you could say you fast tracks you into certain domains, and the network of people that you end up meeting and the kind of work you end up doing. Of course, it's going to be highly responsible and high pressure work, but it teaches you a lot of things.
So, like, if I look into your overall journey, right, it's been a mix of AI, product augmentation, technology, right? Data. You have done a lot of data stuff as well, like working
Yeah.
with Shadi.com and crunching loads of data to probably devise a future strategy, how the market is behaving and how your algorithm and search string have to work. So my question is, how is this combination of AI, tech, data, right? And how important it's for the MBA students to get into hook of, this skill set, right? And how they should start learning if they are looking for, especially for product management as a career, especially for technology development and data center as a career.
Very, very good question. I think that's a question that more and more students are asking.
Yeah.
In my time, when I passed out, like very few students were asking how MBA roles develop into this new tech roles, because now the boundaries between these industries have blurred a lot,
Yeah.
and you see everybody using Gen AI tools now in companies and offices, personal life. So basically, what we are seeing right now is product management as a role came out in late 1990s, early 2000s. It was developed by Microsoft, now some other Silicon Valley companies. This role came up when the first set of enterprise softwares were launched. So, like when you got Microsoft Office Suite, you got Google Suite. So, when these all things came up, that's when these roles came up, because they needed dedicated folks who understood business, but at the same time could handle tech products. So basically, what you can think is product managers are nothing but domain specific managers that always existed. If you were in an FMCG company in the 1990s, say you were working at Nestle or HUL, then you had an idea of what your product was, what assembly line looks like, how the distribution channel works, and you also had a idea for business, like how do we grow it, how do we make margins out of it. That's the eye you need from a business lens. Similarly, product manager works very is a like a direct clone of that role. But here, the work he's doing is not distribution channels or assembly lines. Here, the work completely becomes about social media outreach. It becomes about my developers, my analyst. The stakeholders become more internal, is the co-founders, the CEOs, the directors. These are the people that you work with. So that's how the product role came in. What I would say is that building products is all the same in most industries. What a person needs to develop is the idea of how do you merge these two things of technology and business. At the core, you are always a representative though of business and the customers. So a tech can get replaced, and tech is a field which gets replaced fairly fast. So you become redundant also in this industry fairly fast. So one of the key thing for students to realize is that it's not like you did an MBA and you landed in a job and now I will be a product manager. That's probably product manager as a field might not exist in 10 years time, because this might evolve into something else as more technically advanced product come into place. So how we imagine apps and tech to look like might not exist in 10 years time. So the most important skill is, I would say, and if you rightly pointed out, I've done data AI, is adaptability. So while you're doing MBA, and data is immensely important, and I think the future and the present is data. Um, it's empirical. You need to have finished certain courses while you're doing your MBA. You need to have an inclination. You must be reading magazines, newsletters, spending your time understanding the latest products coming out. Even if you don't understand the technical bits of how models run, you should understand the logical bits of it. So if somebody asks you, how does an LLM function? You should be able to explain it in a minute and not have to chat GPT everything to get your answers. So these are some things that I would say. And if you want to come into a tech domain, I would say be on top of it. Right now, the buzzword is AI. Few years ago, it was data science. Few years before that, it was software development. So before that, it was internet. So these things will keep on coming. I think the next change is around the corner. AI will last us another 4 or 5 years. Plus, after that, AI will become the norm. Nobody will speak about it. It will become like an everyday thing.
You think like AI? I mean, even while thinking, when you say that AI has came, it has surpassed, that it has conquered our life, and probably down the line there is something more. I'll say dynamic to conquer AI as well. Do you think is it possible? I mean, even I
Uh,
can think of it.
yeah, I mean, we used to use ChatGPT 2, and
Yeah.
people nowadays use ChatGPT 4, and it became the whole thing blew up at ChatGPT 3. But we were using this in 2016-17, and when we used those algorithms, we thought this is never going to become intelligent. But within 8 to 10 years, you can see these algorithms are able to answer our complex queries. They are able to think for themselves. So in the next 10 years, now if I say, is it gonna be like that intelligent? I would say it's gonna be much, much more intelligent that even we can imagine today. I think that even the smartest folks are not able to foresee how big AI is gonna play a role. But what's gonna happen? It's gonna perforate into every aspects of our life. From managing our bills to paying our bills, eventually into physical objects. And I feel the next step that the industry is going to take is, like, we were working in software field so far. Now the next wave is going to be of physical products. So instead of seeing all software related products where you open your laptop and there are things that you do, things will become more physical and more tactile in nature. So there will be devices in your house that you can use to, basically, like we are seeing, like cleaning your house. There are self-driving cars coming in. So all of these things are powered by AI at the very end, but they don't look like a software, but they are like more like a physical product for you. So we're going to see more of them. Product managers and different kind of managers are going to be needed here. Post MBAs, we'll see these rise of companies. But at least for the next 10-15 years, we will see a wave of AI products launching. I work in one of them. My startup is one of them. As you rightly pointed out, I've done a lot of work in data and AI. And I would say that it's not a question of how to get here. The question is that this is the field. This is where the jobs are. This is where MBAs are expected to bring their business novice into this field. is the question is, are you ready to step up your skills and get into it? Because somebody else is. And a lot of folks outside of India, if you look at like Silicon Valley and Europe, people are already ahead where they have been able to combine all the technical and the business skill with them. So even if you're not from a technical background, like I was not from a technical background, but the idea was that if you understand the logics and the functionings of things, you can work with people who are technically better than you. And one of the key aspects is to work with people who are smarter and technically better than you. And the only way is that you should be able to understand their language. You should be able to, if not code, you should have the skill set of knowing how data analytics works, how data science concepts work. So I think that helped me. I myself did minors in data. So data analytics was my minors while I did my majors in marketing. Post that, I did my product role. I wanted to be a product manager in my second year of MBA. I knew it. I found an internship. I converted it. Worked really hard for it. When I went to become a product role, I was doing a front-end product management where designing apps was my job. But because I had an inkling for data, I could understand data very well. And that's how I got an opportunity at Shadi to, work at data science. And that actually, was a revelation for me that how much product is driven by data today. And since then, I have not looked back. I have continued my journey into data more and more. And now I'm doing my startup where I'm trying to get data and my marketing and MBA expertise and trying to.
So here's my question. It's a very interesting because for all my users, let me tell you, Mr. Shashank is working on a product which is PrimaSpot.
PrimaSpot.
And
Right.
and the PrimaSpot is a platform because now what we really see the dynamics of marketing is changing altogether. We have moved from ATL to BTL from digital marketing, and digital marketing is more moving towards influencer marketing nowadays with the rise of all the social media platforms and the eyeballs, the maximum eyeballs which are rolling towards the shorts and this thing, right? So it's all about the influencers. So the what PrimaSpot does, they identify with their AI algorithms the influencers in various aspects, various fields, and they suggest to particular industry types. Let's say if I want to market a particular product, for example, a mic, or for example, a wireless phone, then who are the products, people who are speaking about technical stuff? And it's all driven by AI, if I'm not mistaken. So sounds very, I'll say, astonishing. Please explain us how did this idea seep into your mind? Like, and you're banking on the most lucrative thing, the marketing budgets of the companies, right? So I could foresee a lot of wealth running around this whole concept. It titillates me a lot. But from your perspective, how did it banked on with AI, with data, with marketing, and looking into the deep pockets of the corporates?
Thank you for your words, Anuj. I hope it's a lucrative business that we are cracking. Frankly, we are kind of builders. So my team, I myself see myself like, trying to build more challenging products and stuff. We knew for a fact that marketing as a domain is awakening in the last 5-6 years to data and data science per se, if be honest. Because in my experience, marketing used to have a lot of data, but not a lot of good data science, like some 10 years ago. And good data science and good products were being built on the app side. So there always used to be great algorithms for search engine. There used to be recommendation systems by Google. So there always used to be great algorithms. When it came to marketing, always the best thing was your Google AdWords, Facebook AdWords algorithms. And frankly, as a business, you cannot leverage these algorithms. You can leverage the keywords that you are trying to bet on. But that's about it. The rest, you are dependent on your creatives and you're hoping Google does a good job or Facebook does a good job. Their algorithm does a good job for you. And always as a business, you are looking to grow and you're looking for more control over your marketing channels. So good companies, the best brands out there, control their marketing channels. They know exactly how to deliver, who to deliver, when to deliver. So these fundamentals are pretty clear. And that's where the rise of influencer marketing came in. We understood that this space existed. And we kind of knew that, as the space was growing, initially people were thinking that, very few people were using it for marketing. Most of the times influencers were earning their money through YouTube giving them payouts for their videos and stuff. Eventually, good influencers became very professional. And now you see the content quality on the internet is really high. The ceiling is really high. And the quality moved up. They understood they can make money through brands. They started charging, started hiring their own teams. And that's when this whole, even brands realize that, the way influencer speaks and the amount of influencer influence basically a creator has on its audience, it's hard to match. You can show an ad, but it won't mean anything unless your creator also has used that product and can speak unbiasedly about it. That makes a lot of difference when it comes to selling anything. And that's where the rise of brands understood this. And as quickly as brand understood it, agencies understood it, and they all started building influencer marketing. Soon, tech companies started popping up in this field. So we want to be one of those early tech companies here where we want to actually be positioned completely as a data science company in this marketing domain, where our algorithms will fetch all data available online. We'll understand everything about your product, look at your reviews on Amazon, understand in detail any marketing campaign you've done in past. We'll go through everything, summarize what you might have done right and wrong. At the same time, another algorithm will look at all influencer data, do our data science matching. We are good at matching products with other products. That's what my experience has taught me, how to match products. So we do that. The whole AI piece, no, just like ChatGPT, will do your communication piece, handle all the campaign, expenses, payment, look at the content being launched, everything AI will take care of. So that's the basically a gist of the product we are building. And we feel like we want to be positioned as one of the first AI assistants that any company can have. And instead of hiring like, third party, 3, 4 companies to do your marketing or trying to find some time in your daily schedule as a founder to do some marketing on your own, you can delegate this dedicatedly, to an AI. And the AI will keep on bringing you summaries and help you understand how your marketing is being run. Influencer marketing we've taken up because that's the most complex and that's the most promising field that we feel.
Authenticity is the question over there, right? Credibility, how you are, how your algorithms are working, right? So for a marketer, that is the first challenge, or that is the first proof of concept, right? That has to be ascertained, right?
It's very critical because marketing folks have got like, a hard time trusting different platforms and different agencies. They are not sure like if their money is being spent wisely. And this is a very high risk, high reward kind of industry as well. If you get your marketing campaign right, it can work wonders for your company. And it takes a long time for most brands to get their marketing strategy right. So I think we need more AI help here because there's more uncertainties in this market.
When I see a lot of people, right, especially who have worked in industry, they've reached to a level, especially the leadership profiles they have reached, and they're earning good packages, month on month recurring salaries are coming, they're earning a good handsome life. It takes shots to leave that lifestyle, think of your startup, and then start from scratch, right? You have done that thing and you're successfully doing it with full conviction that you are doing it. So for everyone, how your entrepreneurship, passion pulls you to leave your high lucrative leadership journey and to, struggle again back into the life. So, what is the hardest part of that shift? Please explain us.
I think a lot of people want to do startups today in India. If you ask any student out there, even if he's doing an MBA, they will all say that, I want to work for some time and then do my own startup. Or they're already doing, a lot of students.
Yeah.
And I'm very glad to see that this ecosystem is maturing. Gives us folks a chance, to make mistakes and take a chance in our own lives. It's been a mix of seeing other folks, to be honest, Anuj. I think you yourself are doing your own business. So basically, I've seen a lot of folks that I've met in my life. So I always kept on asking them, the same question that you asked me, like how did you start? How it all started? What was the inspiration? What it meant for you in the beginning? For me, there was always a feeling that I wanted to do something of my own. For me, it again felt like, I've been waiting, did my MBA, learned about business, worked with business leaders, worked with founders, handled all top metrics of a company from revenue to profits. So got to see everything, but there was always feeling that itch that, I know so much, but I always wanted to do this on my own. And why am I not doing it? And yeah, to be honest, it takes a lot of support. Um, it's good to have support from your family, from your friends. For me to get to a decision to do this, I had to spend almost a year talking with my family about this decision that I was planning to take. At the same time, you would always feel scared. Because I'll give you an example. 100 people will have the same idea. You might say that, this idea already there are 5 startups out there. So many people are thinking about it. But out of 100, only 2 or maximum 3 people will have the courage in them to leave everything and pursue it with full flow. So the moment you decide to pursue something, you have beaten 90% of the competition out there. So I would say that to everybody who's feeling like should they do it or should they not, will it work or not, you have to understand probably it will not. Yeah, that's a given with any startup. That most likely you have to be like really hardworking and really focused to make it work. So that's a given. So if your circumstances can afford it, and I don't think that this is the right answer for everyone out there, but everybody who's feeling like, everything else is sorted in my life. And I felt at that stage I was earning well. And if you are earning well, I had made some money that, I will not be able to get more comfortable than this, where I was. So it felt like this is the time, because if not now with all the comforts, then probably this is never gonna happen. Yeah. And if you could take that leap, you are already in the race. You are much ahead in the race with everyone. And I would say that if you can build some financial security around yourself and then do a startup, I think there's nothing like it. You are in the best place where anybody could be. You have the luxury to make some mistakes, to take out time. So, frankly, if I did my startup like 10 years ago, I would not have this peace of mind that I have today. And that's something that bothered me. But right now, I can do this. I wouldn't say I have a peace of mind forever, but at least I have a peace of mind for a couple of years that you can take out from your life and do your own thing. It can work wonders. And it's not about the success of your startup. You end up learning so much. Anuj, you would maybe want to say more about it, but you end up learning a lot about how to run a business.
Yeah, I completely agree with your viewpoint. And when you are into your own startup, it brings a lot of new learnings. Every day comes with a lot of scratch things to do. And see, there is a satisfaction. See, I mean, you can't monetize everything. And immediately you can't have a monetization mechanics whereby, you can do a plus B equal to C, right? So there's a lot of gray areas also. When you grow, you start getting some gray hairs. There are other aspirations also that you look forward for. And it is all about where can I hold myself, where I can do a better thing with my skill set, and I can create a real big value across the landmark, right? Right now, my value is being delivered to a particular company. What if I have a neutral value and I can spread my value or my positioning or my skill set across to the masses or to the corporate? So that value drivenness and the depth of the idea is what I think keeps you passionate, keeps you driving. That's most important, right?
And I would say that as a person, it might seem like a big decision, and it is a big decision. There is no denying it. And it's a very personal decision. So it has to be taken by you. But I would say that today's market landscape has changed. Now entrepreneurs are not looked, even if the startup doesn't work, they're not looked upon as failures right away, which was one of the stigmas in Indian society at least. And there are companies, even if you worked in a startup and it hasn't worked out as per your plans, still companies and people are, see you with value now. They see that there's some valuable experience there. This person has, hustled. So that's still a long way to go for India. I wouldn't say this is 100% everywhere out there. But from what it was 10 years ago, we are in a much better place. If you look at entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley or in Europe, failed startup founders are the most valuable founders out there. Most valuable employees for future, because they know the pain of a business not working out. So when they join a company, they work doubly hard to ensure that this business works for somebody else, because they can relate to the pain of the founder better. So that makes a difference. So I don't think it's as big a concern that people are putting out kya hoga iske baad, because something is there after that kya hoga wala answer. And if you've taken this decision and you were able to hustle it out, I feel we'll be able to get through. I think that's what keeps me hoping that, if this works out, doesn't work out, something will happen. And I would say that in my MBA also, don't tread the regular path. Do your MBA, but also do something outside of your MBA while you have those times, so that you know what exists outside of the regular path also for you, because opportunities lies outside the regular path, and you should always be on the lookout for them.
So when you say that pursuing your MBA, you should always look for alternate and regular path apart from the academics that you have been planted into. Right.
Hmm.
So here lies the question. It's a very deep question for all the management aspirants, right, who are aspiring for good B schools, right? But they find a mismatch. They find a mismatch, like getting into B school with an aspiration, but not landing to up to the expectation, right? And there's a lot of hoopla around the marketing stuff. So from your experience now at this juncture with your corporate journey and your startup, what is that 1%? What is that 5% that really makes the difference, right? Whether it is skills, whether it is the company where you are joining for the, as an initial breakthrough, it is about the timing, right? Or it is all about your network. So what's most important in across all these aspects of the elements for landing up in the best possible way that you could have expected?
I have seen students who have, worked their ass off in MBAs, landed in good colleges, went into good roles, big companies, like, like the top five in India kind of companies, and have failed miserably in the first few years. And I've seen students who have not done so well, went to a mid-tier college, went into so like these smaller companies, so-called smaller companies, but did exemplary performance out there. And I've hired a lot of product managers while working in these companies. So typically, once you're doing it, I would say the most important thing is that you have to understand that this is a ruthless industry that you're entering into. And I think that's a thing that everybody should accept. This is not a cakewalk kind of hand-holding kind of roles that you'll be given. You will be expected to, produce results, and there will be no mercy shown, no empathy if you do not perform. So the idea is that I think everybody should get a little selfish while they're doing their MBA. It's not as much as you have to build your team and you have to do team play. That's also part of your selfishness only. That how good a team you can build and how well a project you can do. If you're asking like what is the key thing? Like what I think the top 1% is building, I would say, their network first. I would say if you do any kind of MBA, it's very important whom you're hanging out with, what conversations you're having, what are you basically exposing yourself to, would be my answer to this. You expose yourself with good people, they will eventually become great people in their career. Because everybody is young, you don't know, but if you expose yourself to the right set of people. The other thing is that expose yourself to challenging situations while you're doing it. Because MBA is the place where you cannot get into a comfort zone. And your books and your marks can easily become your comfort zone. Thinking, Kina, this will help me. But that's not how jobs are like. Jobs are not like you read something and you do something and things work out, because this is a real practical world. It doesn't work out like it works out in the books. Books will help you, but they do not tell you how to do it. They just explain you certain concepts. So key things I would say is that challenge yourself. Do the things that you don't like to do. If you have a fear of speaking publicly, go join a Toastmasters club. Take up an important position in some committee or some clubs that are being run. If you feel like you're not able to empathize with people, do something, join an NGO or do. But you need to have a more well-rounded personality, because the world outside of MBA is going to be very, very different. And I think the best of the best folks are people who are multidisciplinarian, I would say, who have done like 4 5 or pursued 4 5 different hobbies, passions while they were doing their education. I think that becomes important. And then network and everything will become like a fall off of that, because you will be involved in so many different things. Automatically, you will have a big circle of network. You'll have, and it does not matter. If you are a multidisciplinary, I would say companies do not matter. Role does not matter in the beginning as much. But if still somebody has to choose, of course, I will give more weightage to your role over a good company when you're starting off, because you can eventually, if you are in your right role and if you're doing a good job, I think today's industry is very ruthless. If you are getting your cards right within 4 or 5 years, you would be at that job. And I'm not even saying it will take you 4 or 5 years longer than somebody else. You will be right there at the same level as somebody from a top college doing that role, because you will grow faster. And in companies, I trust me, people recognize skill set very fast. And bureaucracy and stuff happens only in very big companies. But if you are okay to work in a good culture, innovative companies, then they will usually not be very huge. They'll be smaller companies which do real innovation. So you can grow even faster, I would say. And I've seen folks who have done MBAs from tier 2, tier 3 colleges, and within 5 years they're sitting on 1 crore plus CTC and doing fantastic job. But I've seen people who are cribbing about it. Yeah, I can never reach that. This can never happen to me. They're not taking any kind of risks in life. They're not trying to put themselves out there and learn different set of skill sets. So I'm saying I think it's the world has changed completely. It's more than the MBA. You're not stuck anymore. You can always upgrade your skill set and you can land up in roles. So try to focus on yourself while you do the MBA and your network. Everything else will follow. Not get too bogged down by exactly which company am I getting into and which role am I getting into. But yeah, if there is something that already you want, I would say do your internships. Start applying to those companies so that you get that role, or at least you get closer to that role in some way, so that you're always learning.
Shashank, that's the reason I call this session, a brutal reality, a mind-opening session. And when you have discussed so much for MBA aspirants, because that was one question in my mind, which so many students keeps asking me. That's why when I'm sitting for my placement, what kind of job shall I look? Should I look for a big company? Shall I look for profiles? Shall I look for startups? And you very aptly answered this question, right? So this can only come with experience. This can only come when you are on your recruitment sheet and you are, looking forward for qualities in your probably recruitees. I mean, your employees, prospective team members, right? So all in all, I think you've explained it so beautifully well. And yes, that is the nutshell. That is a metal of this session that drives this kind of learning experience from industry leaders. And you've really given a beautiful insight for all the aspirants. So all in all, beautiful session, a very learned session. We have covered your journey. We have covered how industry is working, how industry is performing, future of AI, future of data, how this whole transition is happening so faster. Probably AI seems to be today, maybe it will have a different fall together altogether. And from MBA's perspective, also, we have covered so many beautiful questions. Last message you would love to cover, or probably would love to share your wisdom. When I say wisdom, wisdom is after, a squeezing wisdom. So, for all the students, all the listeners for this podcast.
Thank you, Anush, for your kind words. I think you made it very easy for us to talk about such different topics. I think I've never had like so many different conversations about my life in one conversation. But yeah, thank you so much for having me here. One wisdom, I would say that no, try to think of everybody that you're working with, smarter than where you are. Try to think of like, everybody has an edge over you. It will help you to appreciate their talent more. And as much as I have said that you should be selfish and focus on yourself, try to think of everyone as who's coming and working with you to be smarter in something than you. You will find it's much easier to work in team and learn from them, because your peers and your colleagues are going to be your biggest folks from which you can learn post you finish your MBA. So always be grateful for them. That would be my one advice for everybody.
Thanks a lot, Shashank. And I believe this session will reach to the very serious audience, because when I talk about this session, this is only for the people who are very serious in terms of understanding the realities, right? So, yes, for all the serious audience, please share this session with the people all around you, probably who could drive some insights from our discussion, from Shashank's wisdom, from Shashank's, whole journey. And yes, probably they can resonate with their probably journey, and they can drive their output from this. Thank you very much, Shashank, for sparing your precious time, and we look forward for other sessions with you. Topic wise sessions, and probably get some more insights. For our audience.
Thank you, Anuj.
Thanks a lot, Shashank.